Hiya, welcome back to me painting away. We're going to be doing this cute autumn squirrel set. This is a guy I copied. How cute is he? Everything today except from the black and white gel and the top coat is supplied by Gaynor Louise Beauty Supplies. She was so kind and spoilt me with all these little goodies. I was so chuffed. It was like Christmas Day. But I'll leave the product description down below and a link to her page if you fancy buying any. I'm just going to show you how much you need, which isn't a lot really. I also go on with Shakin My Morocco's and Leave Me Alone. That's 2 coats of Skin to Skin as a base. We're just going to take an old makeup sponge which I've ripped up, a clean one obviously, and we're just going to dab on, mix some white and black together and dab it on the outer left hand side, the top and the bottom. Keep your pressure quite light as well, because if you press too hard the product will go in the sponge rather than on the nail and it's a waste of product really. You can layer it up by curing in between. I didn't because it's time consuming. So here I'm going in with Leave Me Alone as well for some warmth. I also go in again with some black and some Shakin My Morocco's. But yeah, just take your time, and once you're happy, just cure it in a lamp for 30 seconds. So I started off like sketching, with paint really. So I mixed up some Leave Me Alone with some Flirt and some 2am in Hollywood. I think I added a little bit of good vibrations as well. And I'm just mapping out where the colours are. You'll add the details in later, so just be rough. Here's where you try and get your proportions right and just the initial shape of the squirrel as well. Mapping out his back leg. It's quite orange there as well, so I've used the Shakin My Morocco's one. And I tend to like to put a couple of colours on my brush before mixing them, you know what I mean? And then just mix them whilst you apply it. See how rough I'm putting that on, just map out your shape and where the colours are. Worry about the details later. This Mitzy brush that I have found as well, she gave the option with this one and another one, which was shorter. But it says the Mitzy one's great because you can do your details, but because it's a longer brush you can do a lot of striping with it, which is really handy, which you'll see later on. It's me going in with his ears, so fluffy. But yeah, I'm keeping my pressure light most of the time. I'm mainly using the tip of the brush when I want to get a precise line. Like here, I'm trying to add these first, so I'm touching it very light and flicking it upwards and outwards. Same with the white as well. I find as well, if you keep your colours wet so you don't cure them, it's a lot easier to blend them together, and it's very much like painting a picture on a canvas. So I tend to like to keep the colours wet and build on top of that, not too thick mind or it'll bubble. And then once you're happy with that layer, cure it. Then you can go in with another layer, more colours, and keep that colours wet again. It's easier to control as well, I think. Really see him take shape now as well. So for little minute details in his face here, I'm literally using the tip of my brush, and the brush is very dry, there's hardly any product on my brush, you'll see. And we're just placing his eye with a blob of black. Lucky for me, the blob ended up in the shape as the squirrel's eye, so that was handy. Because I placed the eye, I noticed that the head was too small, so here's me adjusting it. Just adding more. This is the joys of gel. If it was normal polish, you would have to remove some and that, but gel polish just add more. So as Bob Ross said, it's happy accidents. I'll go in with some good vibrations, I think mixed with a little bit of the Shakin My Morocco, just to highlight a few of these features. So his head now stands out from his neck and his body rather than just being all one colour. The whole time I was painting this, as you can see, this isn't sped up at all. I'm working quite fast. It is literally just sketching with paint and creating those layers to create the depth of the squirrel to make him look more realistic. So I'm adding some Leave Me Alone. The camera's letting me down and not focusing. Typical. Just to warm him up a little bit. Good vibrations mixed with a little bit of Flirt. So I'm just adding little highlights to his fluffy ears. The thing as well with fur and animals is keep your pressure really light, keep your brush really dry, and just flick it on gently. And it'll create the texture of fur for you. One thing I've learned as well, that my art background's really helped me with nail art is if something's really light, make it really light. If something's really dark, don't be scared to go in with the black and really dark colours, because that's what gives you the definition and the 3D effect. If you keep everything on the same lightness, it will look quite monochrome and flat. You don't want that, you want it to look nice and 3D. So I went in with some good vibrations mixed with Flirt, which is your white, and went around his eye. I'm just going to flick on some of that as well to make his face more prominent and stand out more. With the tiniest amount of 2 AM in Hollywood on the tip of my brush, I'm then going to go in and mark out his mouth. It's barely taking shape now too. He is on a tree with some, it was like fungi in a tree, so I'm just getting a little bit of Shakin My Morocco and good vibrations, and I'm just flicking that on, so I'm mixing it as it goes on the nail. I'm then taking some tiny bit of Flirt and 2 AM Hollywoods, which are white and black, and I'm doing the bark of the tree. Doing little minute details and some Skin to Skin, which is the base colour, and it's a nice neutral to pop on. I finished him off with some matte top coat, which was also gifted by Gaynor Louise Beauty Supplies. I found with matte top coat your details show a lot nicer. With a shiny top coat, don't get me wrong, it's lovely, the details disappear a little bit because of the reflection in the light, as you can see here. Now I'm using only 4 colours. So it's your black, your Good Vibrations, your Morocco, and your Leave Me Alone. 2 coats of Skin to Skin again. And with the Mitzy brush, we're going to take a blob of the yellow and the orange. We're not going to mix it, and we're just going to dab it on. This is going to be an autumn tree. Then some yellow and Weave Me Alone. And some Weave Me Alone and Morocco. So I've done 2 coats of Weave Me Alone. I'm going to matte top coat this. This is going to be a cozy autumn woolly jumper. I'm going to wipe off that tacky layer once it's cured, so it's nice and matte. We're going to take the brush, we're going to take some Weave Me Alone, and we're going to paint on the jumper pattern. This is where I'm speaking about the striping. So this brush was great for details, as you've seen. Now you can see that it's great for striping, which is needed in the nail industry. Straight lines are hard to master, but it's handy when you've got a good brush like this. And we're just going to go in with a woolly jumper pattern, so be generous with your polish as well. Because you're painting a matte top coat as well, you'll find that the polish doesn't run as much, so it's really handy, easier to control. We're then going to take some clear acrylic powder. We're not going to cure it yet. Take some clear acrylic powder and sprinkle on, make sure all that wet polish you've just put on is covered. Then you're going to cure for 60 seconds. This is a sugaring effect, will make it matte and 3D. Brush off the excess, and there you go. Nice wee woolly jumper nail. For the trunk and the branches, I put a dollop of 2AM in Hollywood at the bottom and striped up very gently. And my camcorder gave out. Typical. But keep your pressure really light at the ends. So this is Icon Glitter Dust in Allure. We've already done 1 coat of skin to skin and cured it. This coat is now wet. We're then going to sprinkle generously that glitter dust on top, then cure it for 30 seconds. We're going to do thumbnail and Shakin My Moroccos. And then there you have it. Very simple, easy when you know how, autumnal set. All Cuccio products, so it will last forever. Like everything in life, it's simple when you know how. Links down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.